Okay. Hi, everybody. Jennfier DIxon here with Thrive Yoga and Wellness, and joining me today is
Merritt, Malouf, Plumb with the Energy Center and Thrive Yoga and Wellness.
And we are in week 7.
We've almost learned about all the chakras.
Woo-hoo, woo-hoo. In our last 90 days, so it's a 13-week program to try to get us pumped up and excited about the end of the year, how we can finish this year better than how we started it. And we have journeyed our way up the chakras, and today we're talking about
the Crown Chakra,
otherwise known as
Sahara.
Sahasrara. Oh my gosh.
Sahasrara.
Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
The 1,000-petaled lotus. There we go. I'm going to leave it at that.
And I put this out here. Our beautiful Elizabeth Ogle gave me this, and it reminded me of the 1,000-petaled lotus.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Because the lotus, has different rungs, and they just continue opening and opening and opening.
There was a botanical gardens that we used to go to when we lived up north, and they had a big lotus. It was, I think, 6 or 9 different ponds with lotuses, and going during the spring or during the different times when the lotuses would bloom, it was seriously the most beautiful thing, because you have the white lotuses and or lotuses. Is it lotuses or lotus?
I would say lotuses, but I may be wrong.
So you'd have all of these 1,000-petaled flowers growing, and the water would look kind of murky, but maybe it was because it wasn't in a natural environment, because I've heard that lotuses grow in muddy water.
Yeah, and that's what's so beautiful about them, is
they
come up out of the mud. They're the beauty that comes out of the mucky existence into this beautiful flower, and that's the nature of the spirit.
But isn't that kind of this might be a slippery slope, but their very presence cleans the water. It's their roots, that all of that, everything that the lotus is sustained by is the stuff that causes the water to be yucky, and then that makes them beautiful. That's a deep thought.
Yes, it's very deep, and it's very representative of the Crown Chakra, and why the 1,000-blossomed lotus is the representative of that, because we grow spiritually out of the muck, out of the muddy waters, into that beautiful clarity, and then everything else just falls into place.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So this is number 7. We talked about the third eye last week.
Yes, it's right at the crown. If you put your thumbs at the top of your ears and your hands just above, that is your Crown Chakra.
I think your Crown Chakra is bigger than mine.
I don't think so. It may be more developed. No.
I would totally agree
because
with that.
I've had a lot of mud that has helped me to strengthen this. And also, it is right at the crown of the head, but if you see spiritual pictures of Christ and deities and angels, they have that crown. And that is, to me, always indicative of the aura.
Oh, that's interesting, because that is in like the Indian mythology images. You often see, similar to like the Mother Mary, this golden ring around
and
them.
we have it in the Catholic churches too. All of the saints and angels have kind of a halo around their head.
Really?
Yeah.
Very cool. So it's like kind of there.
Mystical ancient art, you see that a lot.
That's awesome. So what's the color for the Crown Chakra?
It's a violet, a purple, a high vibration, silvery violet into a white light.
Nice.
Yeah.
So almost like all of the colors can create white or black. That's another deep thought, like a prism.
Yeah.
That's what the Crown Chakra is. It's that brilliant, making it towards white and enlightenment to open up the connection with your divine.
That is a very powerful way to look at it.
Whoa, I didn't even mean for that to come open.
And here we go. We've opened the Crown Chakra now. We've opened every chakra over the last 7 weeks. I feel it.
I love it. So before we get into some of these other aspects of the chakra, what are some foods for the Crown Chakra?
So think the same color. Think purple cabbage, eggplant, things that are purple.
Blackberries and blueberries?
Blueberries.
Okay.
Yeah, anything that's that. But I also read that cacao was and I can't remember why it was a food for the
Because
Crown
chocolate's
Chakra.
basically awesome.
No, that's right, because the chocolate's so spiritual.
That's right.
And it doesn't have some of the same things as processed chocolate. So, and dark chocolate also is it's very good for you. I have it on good authority. An oncologist that I worked with doing mind body work years ago said that cancer was cured by chocolate.
Oh,
dark
really?
chocolate, yeah.
Dark chocolate. I'm going to subscribe to that. Well, I mean,
It has a lot of what am I trying to say?
inflammatory, viral,
Anti-inflammatory, yeah.
all those. Well, and for me personally, when I'm in a really foul mood, if I have some chocolate,
Serotonin.
oh,
That's why
it helps to improve your serotonin levels,
Yeah.
which deplete over time with sicknesses, lack of sleep, and all sorts of things.
Lack of your crown chakra being open.
Ooh.
So again, you know, when we do these studies, when we're doing meditation, when we're doing yoga, keeping our bodies and our chakras aligned, it promotes wellness.
So, what are some signs that your crown chakra might be a little blocked off?
That you're very closed-minded, people with dementia, narrow-minded people.
Like unable to see other people's perspectives, sort of thing.
Yes.
I was reading an article yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, and it was talking about how when this person went into yoga for the first time, the teacher, it was the one that Janet shared with us about mindfulness. One of our favorite clients, Janet, sent an article about the benefits of meditation, and that's why you have a brain of
anti-aging.
you have a brain of a 25-year-old. That article was talking about how yoga helps you, and then she even backed it up with some science, how it taps in with your ability to see other people's perspectives.
Right. Yes. Other things associated with the crown chakra being out of balance could be like you're overthinking material stuff, like you meditate all day but your laundry doesn't get done.
So. I don't know what my experience.
I'm too spiritual to do laundry. You know, and then when I read that today, I was like, dang it, I can't use that excuse anymore. But I did for a lot of years, and you've helped me a lot with this. I was overly spiritual, and I moved out of like being as aware of my physical body, and that's one thing that yoga's really helped me to do, because you want to be healthy in all ways. And you know, if you're overly spiritual but you're not paying attention to your physical and the material things, then you're out of all the chakras need to be in alignment and balance.
Well, that means yoga is balance. Yoga is the union between that hard and soft, the push and the pull. So it's a beautiful thing. Like, I tend to focus too much on that physical stuff, and that's why our relationship's been really good, because it's drawing me out of just this physical. It is good. There's some more yoga.
When I was young, I was all about the physical, though. I would work out. I mean, I was all into bodybuilding, not to a really extreme extent, but I worked out every single day. My day revolved around exercise, and then I felt like I went way over to the other extreme, and now I'm trying to kind of find that perfect balance.
And that changes with time and the seasons in life too. You know, like we have clients that have really young babies. Like when my son was brand new, well, there's the 6 weeks that plain you're not supposed to do anything, and then, you know, like after 6 weeks, when the doctor's like, good pat on the back, you're good to go. No, my kid's still not sleeping. I'm not sleeping. I can't eat right. The kid, you know, so you still have to honor what your physical body's doing with that practice, and then supplement it as you can.
Yeah, we had a client in the studio yesterday that told me that, and she's someone who comes very regularly, but she told me that she didn't come to my class last week because she just felt like she needed to rest. And I said, well, then you need to listen to your body. But she had guilt about it. Like, she was apologizing to me for not coming. And I said, don't ever apologize for listening to your body. Just make sure that when your body gets its rest, that you reactivated.
Yeah, you get connected.
Because it's easy to get lazy. And
that's part of that intuition and
Yes.
listening to all that. So let's dive down a little bit more into the crown chakra.
Okay.
What is it that we're meditating on when we're trying to focus on this area?
Well, I like to meditate on either the lotus blossom or whatever my divine connection, whatever your divine connection is, be it through prayer or meditation, what inspires you. The Greek word for root for inspire is in spirit. So anything that brings you that inspiration, makes you feel connected to your divine source, is going to open that crown chakra and strengthen the universal energies that you work with, the prayer, the meditation that you do. This is the opening of that connection.
Interesting. So what are some yoga poses that we could do? I saw one, it was like downward facing dog.
Downward facing dog. Oh, this should really be your area.
So one that I saw was like Thunderbolt or Vajrasana and Fierce Pose. And honestly, it's one of my least favorite poses. I always joke about how it's I used to run, so my knees don't like it. And it's basically where you're sitting, like in, I don't know if you guys saw the Karate Kid, the old school ones, when I think it's number 2 when he goes to Japan for the tea party and they sit down on their knees like that. My knees would be screaming, like I couldn't do that. And that's why I don't love that pose. Yeah. But apparently I needed, and then rabbit pose where you're kind of in
if you would pray when you did it.
Oh, trust me, there's prayer.
There.
Please let this pose in quickly. I need to keep my lotus up when I'm in this pose. So when we're trying to get more blood there, that's what that downward dog and rabbit pose is for the head below, more blood rushing down there. Kind of like similar to the third eye.
Right. Well, and any of the Kundalini practices too, we have the Kundalini, the root energy down to the earth. We have the crown up to the sky. The Kundalini is that serpent undulating and coming up the spine, pushing the energy up to our crown. And that's what allows the energy to come out into the universe through prayer or whatever you're putting out there that you want to manifest, but also around us, so that there's a circular energy going into the chakras and the meridians and the nadis and
sometimes the image of the serpent can be sort of scary, I feel like, but a similar image that to me I identify with a little bit more. In yoga, prana is your life force. Right. That's that upward flow of the energy, that prana, and the downward flow is apana. And the downward flow, usually, if you're standing up, you want it to stop at the waist to go down.
Yes.
And then you want the apana to lift you, the prana rather, to lift you up. And the prana comes in through the crown chakra.
Well, what we want actually is for the prana to come up from the root
and pull you up
through the crown first. And then it goes up and spirals.
And around. But then you said it's like a circle, right? So it's like...
It's spiraling.
Building you up.
Yes, everything is spiraling.
And it's helping to open those channels up and to open you up some more and to create the ability for the energy to flow.
Right, and aligned. Mm-hmm.
And that's part of the chakras too, which is along your spine. It's like the physical practice helping to get the spine in better alignment from the root to the top.
Right. Well, I just use a serpent because that helps me visualize it. But you can use any kind of uncoiling energy that comes up and pushes and comes around.
Well, there's the serpent in the medical.
The Raphael's caduceus.
Yes,
and it is also used by mystics to imagine that same Kundalini type energy, because the silver and gold snakes come up from the root and they intertwine up the spine and come out the third eye.
Oh, beautiful.
So for Native American earth medicine, the kind of things I do, snake isn't a scary symbol. It's a symbol of transformation and wisdom. So a lot of that is how you look like in the Bible, the serpent was a evil messenger So it just depends on how you view serpents spiritually, I think, but you don't have to use a serpent.
Yeah, and even in Indian mythology, Shiva is seen with snakes around him. And I'm actually reading an old epic, Mahabharata, and it's talking about before they went to the big battle scene, which is what the Bhagavad Gita came from. It's when Krishna is talking to Arjuna, the warrior. They come up with their plans of like acceptable combat, and they used serpents as messengers, and
I had forgotten about that. You're right.
The warriors were not allowed to kill the messenger serpents in this ancient tale, which is interesting. It's just different cultures, you know.
Yes.
And so the symbolism is just different based on the anthropological origin, perhaps.
Yes.
Not to say it's
So,
bad. I didn't mean for you to think I was thinking it was bad.
No, that's an interesting point for sure. And so, going back to yoga poses.
Sorry.
Any of the mudras, any of those positions that settle you and help you focus.
It's interesting that you say mudras, because each of these mudras means something when you touch, and like in Kundalini Sata Nama. I believe it was in Missy led some Kundalini training last fall, and she was talking about how having patients with Alzheimer's focusing on the mudras, and how you mentioned Crown Chakra and dementia, Alzheimer's, there's some physical blockaging. I mean, we know that from a Western perspective, that's the plaque there that's forcing the brain to be basically incapable of doing what it's supposed to. And here it is, mudras, helping to clear out the chakras.
Well,
that's crazy.
If the crown chakra is out of balance, everything is out of balance, because it's important for this to be open for everything else to align, and like I said, for the energy to come around
and perform that protection.
Yes. So if your crown chakra is out of balance, or before it gets fully developed, which I believe, you know, I know we've talked about the age in a lot of these, but I had never heard the ages until recently about the development, and I think it was based on Maslow's hierarchy of need. Was it that?
Oh, I don't remember that.
Yeah, so I had never seen that put together, but that's a very Western theory. And I just lost my train of thought about that.
Well, we were talking about the ages of development.
Yeah, I think that when we're born, actually, we're perfect in our crown chakra, because we have, you know, we're complete, perfect instruments of God before, you know, like we said last week, our parents get a hold of us and start teaching us things. When they're only teaching us what we know, but it leads us down this journey of separation where we feel separate from that which created us, and we never ever are.
Yeah.
So to me, getting that crown strong again is that whole journey of unlearning some of that and feeling that deep mystical connection with whatever your divine connection is.
That's beautiful. And if you think about it from that sense of we're born perfect, and you look at kids, like what we were talking about, kids just kind of sometimes they know things. Like I took my daughter trick-or-treating at a retirement facility a couple years ago, and she's kind of a gregarious, outgoing child anyways, but she's not, like, if she doesn't know you, she's not gonna like run up and hug you, you know? And she just hugged this little old man at the retirement center. He started crying, I started crying. I'm turning around so I don't cause a scene, because she didn't, you know, that's like this, I feel like it was a divine connection, but humans need to touch, and then especially as we age and all that kind of stuff, there's not as much of that. And she was connected enough to that power, and she gave the gentleman a hug, and I truly believe kids just know these things.
I do too.
And it's my job as their parent to keep them open to those channels,
and also keep them safe.
And that's what's hard. That's finding that balance.
Exactly. And I think that's where our crown chakra begins to close, is through that fear that we can't be that connected with every single person because we can get hurt, but then also returning to that place where we are, the crown chakra is all about that oneness that we all are, and the more separate we are from that, the more closed our crown chakra may be.
So I could be wrong, I'm trying to remember because from that the lotus ponds, I thought at night they close.
I think you're right.
And then during the day they open.
Mm-hmm.
So couldn't that be an argument for this opening and closing almost? Like we need to be able to have it opened, but still as a means to keep that protection.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
To open it and close it and be open to opening it, maybe. But it doesn't necessarily mean you just have to have it.
Well, my theory on that is, and I work with people a lot, I think you have the big chakras on the bottom of your feet too, don't you? Have I ever mentioned that? So we have these huge chakras at the bottom of our feet, and people who have native blood, I notice them that they're even bigger. And what happens is that as we stop being tribal people and walking on the earth for our sustenance, we would draw the energy of the earth up through our feet chakras.
Mm-hmm.
And I know this isn't Crown Chakra, but I'm going somewhere. And we've forgotten how to like manage these things on our feet. So we go through this series of retraining our feet chakras so that when we're like in Walmart or somewhere that we don't want to take energy on, we close them like eyes.
Huh.
And then when you're out on the earth or you're in sacred space, you open them like an eye and you draw the safe energy in, and you can literally retrain them, just like the lotus flower does that naturally. Nobody has to tell it to close up. It's dark. It does that naturally. So when we work with our chakras and we train them to, like we said last week, they're like muscles. The more you use them, the stronger they get. Then they actually open and close the way they need to keep your energy safe.
Oh, I love that.
And all you have to do is be in alignment for that to happen. Like I said, we have had to retrain the feet because people are just pulling stuff up through those all the time, and they're like,
Yeah.
Well,
Manju has talked about how if you look at a path, the power that comes from your body, because it enters that prana, leaves through your head, comes in through your head, and the apana pulls it down. Like if you look at trails where people in the old times when people were barefoot, or even now with our shoes, there's still power and energy leaving our feet.
Oh, yes.
And that's why nothing can grow there when people are walking on it all the time.
I thought it was because they wore the path down.
Well, I mean, his thought, his explanation
really cool.
is that energy's leaving it, and so the path can't, the grass can't grow there. Whatever it was that's there can't grow there. And if you think about trails, we do wear it down, but from an energetic standpoint, who's to say that that's not, that physical wearing down isn't at least in part from the energy that we push down to.
Walk gently on the earth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, kind of got some chills there. Sorry. So crown chakra, 7th chakra. It's right here at the top of our head, right above your ears. You make your own little halo. I love it. It's white, but it ends up white, but it starts like in the root with that purpley color, right?
Yes.
Oh, I love how that
beautiful purple colors.
And it makes me think of like a prism, like the white.
Yeah, it is a prism. And it all shines through
to come out that way.
Really, all of our chakras are. I saw it explained that's where our divine essence enters. But I think that the divine essence enters all of our energy centers, all of our energy systems. But the crown's just the highest and closest to that.
I love the idea of the divine is just in you.
Oh, it's what you are. It's what you were created in the image of. Is what you are. Mm-hmm. And the whole idea is just remembering that and knowing that,
tapping into that and that knowledge, that being still and knowing.
Right. Be still. Stillness is very powerful for the crown chakra, and so is silence. So we've talked about different sounds. Sounds are very powerful. I was telling someone yesterday that hum, because when we hum, it relaxes our whole central nervous system. And you see a lot of the Om Mani Padme Hum for the crown chakra, but the favorite is silence and stillness.
And how often are we ever just silent and still?
Not as often as I believe we need to be.
Well, we have an opportunity for you to experience some silence.
Some stillness. Now, I'm not very quiet during the meditations because I guide, but definitely some stillness. Tonight at 7:45 at Thrive Yoga and Wellness, I would love to have you join me, or check out some of our online options. We have online classes, and
yeah, we with our online classes, we have different tutorials, full length sequences to help you move your body, get things moving and doing what they're supposed to, so then at the very end you can enjoy that stillness and that quietness that is the Shavasana, the corpse pose, and that's where that magic is. I don't know if you've taken a class where they say, please don't skip Shavasana. This is where the magic happens. It's where your parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous systems come together again and balance it up, and that's where it changes. And so, yeah, we have options. We have a YouTube channel, which is where this will be streaming, and then we also have Thrive Online. And so, yeah, we would love to welcome you into the studio. We're located in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and if you are not here with us in Chattanooga, Tennessee, make sure you check us out online on YouTube, Thrive Yoga and Wellness, or thriveyogaandwellness.com/thrive-online. My name is Jennfier DIxon with Thrive Yoga and Wellness.
And I'm Merritt Malouf Plumb with the Energy and Thrive Yoga and Wellness. And thank you so much for being with us today. We love sharing space with you. Namaste.
Go in peace. Namaste.